Hi guys, what's up? Hope you're all doing good. And now let us start our first session about the myths about the data science. Firstly, the data science has emerged as one of the most exciting fields in the recent days. And I know since it is a new field, we have both excitement and a lot of confusions and questions about it. Data science is a beautiful combination of technology, business, and mathematics that impacts every facet of our life. Let me give you a few examples regarding that. Marketers use it to predict the likes and dislikes of their target audiences. Bankers use it to identify risky customers. Sports club use it to prevent injuries to their players. Presidential candidates use it to improve their fundraising efforts and many more. And as I said, there would be a lot of confusions regarding data science for the learners right now. So in this session, let us understand what all the myths the learners will have about the data science. So firstly, the myth about the data science is the term data science itself, as it has become the hottest job of this century. Myths are just the wrong assumptions that people usually have about data science, and this is because of the lack of complete knowledge on the data science aspects and tools used for obtaining the results. So not lagging much, want to know what the first myth is all about. The first myth is like this: data science is a field for mathematical geeks or mathematical wizards. As I mentioned before, data science is a combination of business, mathematics and technology. People usually assume that data science can be handled only by the people who are mastered in mathematics. And this is because of lack of understanding about how exactly the data science is applied in the business. It is true that data science requires an understanding of statistics and probability because most of the predictive modeling techniques in data science are based on these concepts. So let us take a simple example. The chi-square is a popular statistical measure that every data scientist needs to know about. However, the crucial question is what the data scientists need to know about this chi-square. Chi-square statistic is usually a test that measures how expectations compare to actual observed data or the model results. The null hypothesis of chi-square test is that no relationship exists between the categorical variables in the population as they are independent. The traditional statistical education focuses on the formula and calculations of chi-square test, whereas the data scientist will never actually do those calculations using formulas. Rather, the data scientist will use a statistical software like Excel or SAS or R that will do those calculations in a fraction of a second. And what the data scientist needs to know is all about when exactly to use this test and how to interpret the results. And this is the reason why data scientists do not need to be mastered in mathematics. What they need to know all is about more of logic and common sense to apply them in a right way and to solve the real world problems. I hope that I cleared the first myth about data science, and let us move on to the next myth about the data science. Now, the second myth is learning a tool is equivalent of learning data science. People often think that learning just a tool such as Python, statistics, probability, or will make them an analyst or data scientist. But this is very far from the truth. The reality is that learning a programming language like Python or R will make you a better programmer, but not a data scientist. A data scientist needs to think beyond these tools and master other skills such as application of various predictive or interpreting techniques as well. Interpreting is an most important skill that data scientists should possess or acquire. At present days, most of the people are going in for tool-based certifications offered by many institutions with the hope of an easy entry into the world of analytics. But most have been disappointed. The organizations or companies are not just looking for a tool expertise but for a combination of mathematical, programming and business skills. This is why anyone looking to enter into analytics field need to carefully think about what they are going to acquire all the required skills is not just expertise on a particular tool. Hope you got the idea of a second myth, and let me explain you about the third myth. The next myth is like this: data scientist will be sooner replaced by artificial intelligence. Data science as a field is in its infancy, and as it evolves, we will surely see the activities that currently done manually are automated in the future. But in field of data science, a person with right qualification will always have to be there to tell the machine what to do. Machines cannot interpret or analyze the situation or the needs of the business as the skilled data scientists do. There is a push towards automation in data science. More and more sophisticated algorithms are being built in the hope that they will eliminate the need for a data scientist. However, that is not likely to happen. Even with the most sophisticated algorithms, we will still need sound judgment, domain expertise, and hard work. Data scientists are here to stay. They will always need someone to communicate the insights coming out of the analysis to non-technical stakeholders. However, machines do not ask questions of data to its customers. Machines don't convince people. Machines don't understand the customer needs. Machines don't have intuition, at least not yet, and hence data scientists are here to stay, and their demand is not expected to go down anytime soon. Demand for their skills is already sky high, and it will continue to increase in the foreseeable future. Let us see what's the next myth the people usually have about data science. So it is the data scientist, engineer, analyst are no different from each other. This is usually one of the most asked queries, and people keep confusing the skills among them. People usually have a notion that data engineer, data analyst, and a data scientist are one and the same, but not. Each role has its own uniqueness as a professional when they are working on a project or product development. A data scientist is someone who makes value out of data. Such a person proactively fetches information from various sources and analyzes it for a better understanding of how the business performs, and to build artificial intelligence tools that automate certain processes within the company. Where data analyst or a business analyst help people understand the scenario of the present business and can analyze the problem or needs of the customers, whereas the engineers work on coding and making the things easier and better. And now you can see what are all the different skills these three different domains should possess, and what are all the fields they have to work. Data scientists usually have knowledge about mathematics, programming, and communication, whereas data engineers should possess skills like programming, mathematics, and big data. In the other hand, where data analysts should possess skills like statistics, communication, and business knowledge. And these three people should work in the three different domains, as you can see here. And I hope that I clarified the differences between all three domains and the people working in the different domains. So now let us see what the next myth is about. It is more data is equal to more accuracy. Many of us usually have a notion that if we feed on more data, then it would yield more accurate result. And many of the business organizations collect large hordes of information and use the modern tools and frameworks available at their disposal for analyzing this data. Unfortunately, this doesn't always guarantee the accurate results, neither does it guarantee the useful actionable insights or more value. So, right from collecting the data until the data business model is developed, there are many steps which need to be followed for the best business for obtaining the best business model. Let me explain you the steps one by one. Firstly, once the data is collected, the preliminary analysis on what needs to be done with the data is required. And this analysis of data is very important in case of data science. Second is, we use the tools and frameworks to extract the relevant insights and build an appropriate data model for the data which is collected in the first step. Then these models need to be fine-tuned as per the processes for which they will be used. And finally, we will get the desired degree of accuracy from the model as a business development model. Now, from this we understand that data is itself quite useless. It just depends on how we work on it more precisely and how we work on it more effectively. That's all what makes the difference. And I hope I cleared about the fifth myth, that is, more data is not at all necessary for more accurate result. What is important is how effectively and how precisely we use the data collected in developing a business model. So let me move on to the next myth. So the next myth is all about data science is suited only for large organizations. Large organizations typically have the financial resources and expertise necessary to build a formal data science practice. However, that doesn't mean that only the large organizations should adopt data science and succeed all the time. When those organizations are successful, the media likes to use them as example of what companies can achieve, such as competing more effectively, improving operational efficiency, and even disrupting an entire industry. Because large brand name companies are often positioned as the leaders of their industries. Small and medium businesses may have that data science requires investments in expensive softwares and the expertise needed to use that software. In fact, the data science requires neither of those things. In this domain, vast resources do not guarantee the success. Organizations of all the size can succeed in their data science activities if they are implemented correctly by a competent team. So there are many large organizations which uses data science and can develop their business worldwide. Example, Amazon, the online retail giant, has access to a massive amount of data on its customers, such as names, addresses, payments, and search histories are all filled away in its data bank. And next is American Express. This company uses the big data to analyze and predict consumer behavior. General Electric is using the data from sensors on machinery like turbines and jet engines to identify ways to improve working processes and reliability. And the Netflix uses this data to commission original programming content that appeals globally, as well as purchasing the rights to the films and series box sets that they know which will perform well with certain audiences. Likewise, the small organizations can also use the data or the data science for their business's growth only with a good knowledge of data science and analytical ability. So with this, I hope that I cleared the data science is not only suited for the large organizations but also can be used by the small and medium organizations for developing their business in a better way. The next myth is like this: the data cannot be monetized because it's in a hard to use format. Usually, the data first companies such as Google and Facebook are masters at monetizing the data. They have collected treasure troves of information that are sold to various parties at a handsome profit. Some small to medium businesses think that data monetization is something that only industry giants can do because there are data first companies. However, most businesses have valuable customer data that could be used to improve company operations and perhaps drive new revenue streams. For example, Most companies have transactional information, whether it's customer orders or credit card sales. They probably also have customer services records from their website or call center and support tickets. Yet, many businesses aren't able to leverage the data effectively. But the monetized data can alone do it. In fact, it's unclear what might be the disconcern from the data by modeling or analyzing it. In the worst case, the data may not be readily accessible because it's stored in various databases or paper or in business systems that have not been interconnected yet. And the part of the problem can be solved using a data integration platform. Using an integration platform, organizations are able to connect the dots, which means their insights transcend the data stored in any one system. Using that approach, organizations are in a better position to optimize business processes and customer journeys. Common connections includes sales, marketing, and customer support, although that information can also be connected with supply chain information and information from the other systems as appropriate. Trend information such as weather, traffic, and customer buying patterns are commonly bought and sold to improve sales, marketing, and other operational effectiveness. The companies monetizing such a data typically transform it so it can be consumed easily by other applications. As you can see, the data from the various sources are collected and the data integration platform is used, and finally the data is obtained in a unified way so that you can store the data in the databases in whichever is appropriate. So in short, the data is then made available to the third parties via APIs. In short, the data integration platforms lowers the barriers to information sharing and monetization. So what all the conclusion we can obtain from this is, it is usually assumed that data cannot be monetized because it is in hard to use format. That is, we cannot use the data easily and obtain from the databases in which they will be usually stored. But the solution for the problem is the data integration platform, and from this we can obtain the data from wherever required and use it for the further use. So the next myth is all about data collection is just a breeze. The focus should be on building model. Most people believe that the data collection is most easiest and least skilled process in data science. But this is not the case because collecting the right data is the most essential step in the data science. Your data should be able to produce useful insights and patterns that will help solve some of the questions that what constrained during the data collections are. What type of data should I collect for my project? Will it give the solution for the problem statement? And from where this data is obtained? And finally, where to store it? And what is the most efficient way to store and access all of it? To submit up, the right data collection is the base and foundation requirement for making the right business decisions. So the methods of data collections, as you can see, is first step is observation. It means you need to observe the things carefully, what are all going in the market. And the next is interview, that you should communicate with the people and the customers. And third is questionnaire. You should question them, communicate with them and get their opinion and collect the data from the questions what you make. And finally, the database is created with the help of these data collected in the past. Alright, your data is most important and is the answer for all of this, and therefore collecting the right data is important for building up the business and the productive model. And moving on to the next myth. This myth says that data science is just a fad and it won't last long. I think data science is here to stay forever, and I won't be surprised even if it becomes an important aspect in determining the success of any business, regardless of in which industry it is used. The reason I think is the data is creating a large amount of data is being creating day by day. And as per IBM, 90% of data which we are having in the world today has been generated only in last 2 years, as you can see. And every day we are generating 2.5 quintillion bytes of data, and this data comes in from all over the places like pictures, social medias, transactions, sensors, videos, and so on. So the growth of this data is not expected to stop anyway soon. With this much data being generated daily, we obviously need a process that will structure, draw useful insights, detect patterns, and help in overall growth of the business aspects. This process is known as data science. So guys, the bottom line is that data science is here to stay, and we will require a lot of data scientists to churn throughout this data and obtain accessible insights from it. And I hope you guys, I made it more clearer about the data science is not going to fade, or the data science is not going to lost its trend anymore, and it will be here for a long time. And the next myth is about you need to be a tech savvy, have a super genius brain and a PhD degree to be a data scientist. The reality is very different from this. You don't have to be a genius with bundles of degrees and specializations to become data scientist. In fact, everybody could learn data science, and of course, to be a data scientist, you must be skilled in statistical modeling, predictive analysis, machine learning, and so on. But you don't have to be a graduate from Harvard or hold a specialized degree of data science from any of the great institutions. Today, there are many open sources, curriculum that teach you about data science. All you need is just the interest to learn, that craze and will to learn. And I hope you guys are clear with this point. And with this, let us move on to the next myth. That is, data science is about processing the data on Excel and reading those numbers from Google Analytics. Now, a lot of people have this misconception that a data scientist basically sits and gawks at an Excel sheet all the day. This is not true, because data scientist is responsible for solving problems, uncovering patterns, trends, and useful insights of data by using statistical models, machine learning, and predictive analysis. Now, most people tend to assume that data scientists work on Excel sheets. The reality is we surpass those days now, and with the availability of certain tools like statistical analysis and Python, we no longer use Excel for this purpose. It might be used in few exceptional cases, but because of the evolution of technology and introduction of languages like Python and R, most of the data scientists rely on such tools. It also leads to the assumption that the data science is all about numbers. But the reality is that data science is a lot more than the producing numbers. It is the integration of statistics, business management, computing technology, and artificial intelligence to solve the scientific and business problems by extracting knowledge from the data. So guys, data science is way more than performing analytics on Excel sheets. It teaches to build hypothesis models and implementing those models into the data, creating insights and solutions for the problem. So it just says that data science is not just sitting and making mathematical and statistical calculations in the Excel sheets. And now let us consider the marketing companies like Apple, Samsung, etc. These companies not just sit and calculate the probability of the purchasing of their products. It needs more analysis than what we think. Data scientists in their company analyze the customer's needs, their choices, and then build a business model using that analytical and statistical information, and hence obtain the solution to what the customer's requirements is all about, and hence being able to build up such a great height of business. And I think you're all clear with the lost myth about data science. And these are the tools, as you can see, which are important for learning and adopting the data science. And so these are some of the myths which I explained about the data science usually the learners will have. And I hope I clarified all the myths about the data science. Thank you.